Well, hello everybody. Jeff Cowan here, and I'm back here today to answer another question that I get all the time for the audience here. And I actually get this question just about everywhere I go. It's a great question, and here's what it is. Jeff, after you make a presentation to a customer and you ask them to buy it, and the response is, I want to think about it, how do you handle that? How do you handle, I want to think about it? Again, this is a great question because this comes up on every single service drive, every single day, multiple times with each advisor. So if we could handle this, we could probably close a whole lot more deals, huh? So let's handle it. Whenever you got an objection, I think one of the first things you have to uncover is what's motivating them to use that objection. And with this particular one, I want to think about it. It's typically one of four reasons that somebody would say this. So let's take a look at what the reasons are first. It could be, it's just knee-jerk. They say that anytime anybody asks them for any amount of money. It's just knee-jerk. It's part of their arsenal. Two, you surprise them by asking for more money, and they really don't see the value for what they're getting with the extra money you're asking for. So it could be that. It could be they're using it as a negotiation ploy. And this is the one I see the most, the biggest reason for it is a negotiation ploy, because customers have learned, because we've trained them, that whenever they say, I don't know, I need to think about it, our knee-jerk reaction to them is, I'll give you a free rental, I can take money off, I've got a coupon, I can do this, I can do that, I can do whatever. So we've trained them to say that because they get something for free, and you don't have to do that. The fourth reason would be, is they're really using it to buy more time. They know they need what you're offering them, but they know they don't have the money. So wanting to think about it doesn't mean just today. They want to go home and think about it overnight. So how do we flush out which one of these it is, and how do you handle each one? So let's take a look at the knee-jerk. You can guarantee, almost guarantee, that anytime you offer something to a customer that's obvious, this is something that has to be done, they saw it with their own eyes, and they say they want to think about it, it's almost always because it's knee-jerk. They really didn't mean to say it. What do I mean? Let's take the instance that we just walked around the car, and in doing so, they were with me, and I measured the tire tread depth, I looked at the wear pattern, so we uncovered the fact that there's literally no tread left on the tires. They need tires. So I make a tire presentation, and I say, so there you go, we get that taken care of, it's going to be this much, so all I need is your approval right here. You know what, I think I need to think about it. Well, the best way to handle that and flush that out is Mr. Customer, I'm confused. What is there to think about? We just walked around the vehicle. We just saw the wear patterns on the tires. We just measured the tread depth, and there's basically no tread. You need tires. It's not a question of whether or not you need them or you can get away with driving this car for any longer. You need tires. You need them today. So what's there really to think about? I guess you're right, Jeff. It'd be dumb for me to drive out of here. I kind of knew I needed them anyway, so I'm here. The car's here. Let's get it done. Knee jerk. The next one, like I said, could be they not really saying no to the money. They're saying no because they don't understand the value. They don't understand what you're offering. And you can usually tell by the way they say, I want to think about it. You know, I really wasn't planning on that today, but so I think, I don't know. It's a little bit more than I thought. I think I need to think about it. When they say it kind of hesitant like that, what they're really telling you is, I don't see the value in what you're asking me for. I don't understand why you're asking me for this. So what you do is you just jump back into your presentation. You'd reiterate the value that the benefits you've already given them. You'd throw some more benefits in, and you'd go over why you're doing this for them. That's an easy one to handle. Those are the easiest people, some of the easiest people to turn around. They're really not saying, I want to think. I just need to think about what it is you're offering because I don't understand. If it's a negotiation ploy, that's so obvious when they do that, when they say, I don't know, I came in here expecting to spend this, and now you guys are asking for this. I don't know. I think I have to think about it. That's more than I was planning on today. So that's a sure sign they're asking for money off. And so the way to handle that person is don't give them money off. Don't give them a free loaner car. What you do is you go back in and explain to them why you can't do any of that. And you don't bring it up that way. You just go back in and you say, well, Mr. Customer, I know it may be a little surprise to you and you weren't planning on this, but let me explain to you what we found again and why I think it's important that we have this done today and what it means to you and the overall value of your vehicle and the reliability of your vehicle. And you go back in and you double down on your presentation, not giving an inch. If they're going to give something up, make them point blank ask you for it, not beat around the bush, make them ask you for it, and then still tell them no, okay? Again, you can tell that one by the way they ask. You know, I wouldn't plan on that, it's a lot of money, it's just more than I was planning on. I mean, I don't know. You know, and sometimes they'll just look at you and say, if I move forward on this, what can you do for me? What I can do for you is what I'm offering you, and here's why you need to get it done, and here's why I recommend you go ahead and do it. The final thing is when they're buying time. This is when you offer them the thing and they know they need it, and they come back and they just say, I mean, they're really kind of push back a little bit. Wow, I really wasn't planning on that. I know the car needs some other things, but I'm really surprised by that amount. That's something I'd really have to think about. I don't know if I'm set up for that today. They give you a reply like that. That's a perfect time to come in because they understand they need it. I think they want to move forward. So that's a perfect time to come in with payment options. Credit cards. You can pay cash. We've got special financing, 90 days same as cash, 6 months same as cash. We have 12-month agreements. There's all these different, whatever it is you have to offer, from those types of things to get them to understand that it's important. You're working with them, and you'll help them you'll walk them through it to make sure they get everything they need for their vehicle and for their family and the safety and the reliability and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, when it comes to handling any objection, there's countless ways most of the time you can go. And like I've said in several other videos that I've done when we've talked about closing sales and handling objections, it's really, how way you go is so much based on the personality, the situation, the product, that I really, again, encourage you to go back and study the art of closing sales and handling objections. I mean, this is what you're paid to do. If you're going to be an expert at it, you have to study up and you have to practice it. Also, I really insist, I insist that you really pay attention to building rapport. This will help you with your closing. Because as I've said many times, building rapport, most people think it's just about building a relationship and calming the customer down. And that is one of the things it will do. But if you really listen to the customer the way I teach it and the way I've taught it for years, you can profile them. You can detect what type of benefits are going to be most interesting to them that they're going to need to hear. You can start to detect their personality. These closes work with this personality, so I'm best to use these. This customer is probably going to object once or not at all or 3 times, and here's how I'm going to handle that. So building rapport is another area to put a lot of attention to because, again, it's kind of subjective which way you go, but for this one here, that's the 4 reasons I see typically that people give you that objection, and that's the 4 ways that I would detect it and handle it. If you have any more questions, you can always call us at 1-800-248-2931, 1-800-248-2931, and we'd talk to you, and you won't charge anything for it. Anybody picks up that phone can answer your questions. They can also tell you about our in-store training, our online training. They can tell you about my books, the one I have that has over 90 closes in it and how to handle objections. My book on how to write service, write your own paycheck. That's a great book. It'll show you exactly how to do everything on your drive and maximize the opportunity. And then my latest book here is the Forgotten Rules of Professional Salesmanship. This is a really deep dive into what it takes to be a great salesperson, and I believe anybody that read that book would benefit from it. At least, and I'm getting hundreds of phone calls and emails every day. People have invested in the book and say, yeah, I'm getting a lot out of it. So enough of me rattling on. I think I answered your question. So with that, I'm going to sign off and say, here's what I want you to do. I want you to make it a great day, a great week, and a great month, because when I get off of here from filming, that's exactly what I'm going to do, is make it a great day, great week, and great month. Until next time, take care of yourself.